So I don't know about you guys, but one of the highlights of my childhood was Pokemon. I played all the games and I collected all of the cards. But one thing I really remember was the anime. A lighthearted show with a positive message about capturing wild animals and then forcing them to fight each other. Now, to help me better understand this conspiracy better, I asked my good friend and fellow cartoon conspiracy expert, John, to help me out.
What's up, everybody? I am John. It's a pleasure to meet all of you. Emily, thank you so much for letting me take the reins with explaining this theory.
What if the protagonist of the show, Ash Ketchum, was actually in a coma the entire time?
After the first episode, the tone of the Pokemon series changes. This happens after Ash is in a biking accident and struck by Pikachu's lightning. Now, the reasoning behind this being believed is because after this traumatic incident in Ash's life, he is rushed to the hospital where he is treated with heavy medications, including sedatives and painkillers. And it's these heavy medications that cause Ash to fall into a coma. Supposedly, Ash's coma is the reason why his journeys after the first episode are able to cover such vast distances with really no difficulty at all. Team Rocket becomes less menacing, and his physical appearance never really changes throughout the entire series. The coma is also the reason why throughout the rest of the series, Ash never uses a bike again, and why every town he visits has the same nurse, Nurse Joy, and same police officer, Officer Jenny.
The events of the Pokemon series do sound like every 10-year-old boy's dream. No school, no parents, getting to travel the world with your pets and your much older and much more attractive best friends. And despite not having a whole lot of training, you are somehow the best Pokemon trainer in the world. So could the events of the Pokemon series actually just be the comatose dreams of Ash Ketchum? No need to fear, Pokemon purists. This conspiracy runs into some flaws. First off, the alleged bike lightning accident happens in the very first episode. But Ash doesn't meet Team Rocket until the second episode. So it wouldn't make much sense for them to become less menacing if Ash had never met them in the first place. Also, Ash does use a bike again. In another episode of season 1, Ash shows no fear of bikes and actually wanted one, but couldn't afford it. And, fun fact, the reason it seems like it's the same Nurse Joy in every town is actually because they're all related, and Joy is their family name. And there are also several Officer Jennys in the Pokemon world. So while for the most part the Pokemon anime doesn't make much sense and its consistency is pretty questionable, there's enough evidence here to prove this conspiracy flawed. Actually, I would consider this more of an interpretation of the show as opposed to an actual conspiracy.
Calling this a fan interpretation really hits the nail right on the head. One of the key elements to a good conspiracy theory is that it can change the entire tone of the show and, as a result, change the viewing experience for the audience. Ultimately, Ash being in a coma really doesn't change the tone of the series that much, and honestly, it can be forgotten after the first couple of episodes. In the end, whether it's all a dream or not, the show ends up being virtually the same and gives the audience the same impression that it intends to.
And if we've learned anything from these cartoon conspiracies, it's that some people just enjoy ruining other people's childhoods. So while the anime may have some consistency problems, the arguments given for the Ash in a coma conspiracy just don't add up. So on the plausibility meter, I give the Pokemon conspiracy 1.5 Togepi's out of 5. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Cartoon Conspiracy, and a very special thank you to my friend John who helped me out with this episode. Make sure you check out his channel, his videos are awesome. If you guys click over here, you can get a preview for next week's episode, but make sure you subscribe to channel Frederator, and I'll see you guys next week.